My name is Kirsten Tibballs and I'm an ambassador for KitchenAid. Now I'm going to show you how quick and easy it is to make your own ice cream with the KitchenAid freeze bowl. To create your own ice cream, you do need a KitchenAid freeze bowl, and you need to place this in the freezer approximately 24 hours before you churn your ice cream. So I've had this in the freezer overnight. I'm going to place it back in there while I make the ice cream base. This is an absolutely yummy ice cream base. Who doesn't love chocolate ice cream? I'm going to combine some milk and fresh cream into a saucepan. I'm going to prepare the base for the ice cream before I turn the stove on. I'm going to combine some sugar. You can use normal sugar or caster sugar, both are fine. Now keep in mind that sugar doesn't actually freeze, so if we add too much sugar into the ice cream mixture, it means it'll stay soft in the freezer, but even sometimes too soft to even scoop. So balancing the amount of sugar is really essential. I'm going to add in some honey, and what's important to remember with honey is it's 33% sweeter than normal sugar. That's why I'm only adding a bit in, but it adds a beautiful flavour to the ice cream. Adding a little bit more sugar is important when we're making a chocolate ice cream so that it's a little bit softer when we scoop it, because chocolate has fat in it which goes really hard in the freezer. Going to add the egg yolks in. A little bit of vanilla bean paste. Now we whisk these ingredients together. It's important to mix these together really thoroughly rather than just leave them sitting on top of each other, because the sugar can actually burn the yolks and pull all the water out, and then we're left with little orange lumps. I've got my chocolate here in a bowl and I'm going to place a sieve above it. We're creating a custard base for the ice cream. As soon as the custard is cooked to 80 degrees Celsius, we're going to pour it immediately over the chocolate through a strainer to stop it cooking. Now that this has come to a boil, I'm going to slowly pour it over our eggs and sugar mixture. This is to ensure that we don't cook the eggs too quickly. So just gradually adding it into that bowl. Don't put the saucepan in the sink. We're going to reuse that straight away. So just mix that together. You don't need to aerate it at all. We're now going to pour that mixture back into the saucepan. Now, if you have a thermometer, you're going to heat this till it reaches 80 degrees Celsius. If you don't have a thermometer, I'm going to show you how to know when it's hit 80 degrees. It's great with a wooden spoon or a plastic spoon. You can't use silicone because the custard mixture will just run straight off. So at the moment, it's certainly not 80 degrees. So when I hold the spoon up and wipe a line across, it'll run back over that line. When it's cooked and at 80 degrees, when I wipe my finger across the custard, it'll actually hold. It's important to cook this at a really low heat. If you're a little bit nervous, you can actually place the mixture in a bowl and place it on top of a simmering saucepan of water, and that'll go a lot slower. So make sure you continue to check it to see if you're at 80 degrees. You must stir it continuously while you're heating it to ensure that it doesn't catch on the bottom of the pan. That's ready to go. Now this is the part where you have to be really quick so it doesn't overcook on the bottom of the pan. We strain it to ensure that any particles of the cooked egg we catch in the strainer. You will always get a tiny bit on the bottom of the saucepan. Now we're going to whisk that together until all the chocolate is melted. The next step is to cool this down. Now my preferred way of cooling this down is in an ice bath. So if you've got a slightly larger bowl that you can fill with a combination of ice and water, and then place this bowl inside and then whisk it periodically until it cools down. If you haven't got one of those, you can leave this at room temperature for about 10 minutes before placing it into the fridge. Now it needs to have plastic on it that touches the surface to avoid it getting a skin. So here I've got an ice bath and I'm just going to periodically whisk it while it cools down. We want that to cool down to 5 degrees Celsius before we place it into our freeze bowl. We're ready to churn the ice cream. So we have our freeze bowl that's completely frozen, and we're going to lock that into the base. This is the drive assembly. Now it has a wider part here and a slightly narrower part here, and this just basically clicks on. So we just press that in. This is what we call dasher. This is going to help us churn the ice cream. The idea with ice cream is to incorporate about 30% air, which we call overrun. which is what makes it beautiful, light and creamy. Now this doesn't attach to anything. We're simply going to drop this down, line them up, and then we start it. The dasher isn't actually attached. It's basically sitting there and it almost just clicks in and then it turns. It's important that you don't add your custard base in until it is actually moving. Otherwise it's going to freeze immediately. I'm going to transfer it to a jug. Look at that. Already looks delicious and we haven't even frozen it yet. We're going to pour this in, not too slowly, otherwise it'll start to freeze immediately. And try and pour it into the centre. To fully churn the ice cream, it's going to take 18 to 20 minutes. I then clean the bowl and place it straight back in the freezer for the next time I'm making ice cream. But what I also recommend is that the bowl you're going to transfer the ice cream to, you have in the freezer now, so it's nice and cold, ready to place your ice cream in. Now it's important with your ice cream that you don't take it too far and it doesn't become too firm. So after a maximum of 20 minutes, we're going to scoop it out when it's a similar consistency to this, and we're going to place it in the freezer to firm up a little bit before serving. So we take it off. Now I've had my bowl in the freezer, so the ice cream's not going to melt straight away. Now it is a little bit softer when you first take it out, but once we put it back in the freezer, it's going to firm up perfectly. It's so creamy with this. Adding that little bit of air makes all the difference. We don't want to waste any, so getting as much as I possibly can off the dasher. I'm going to pop that back into the freezer for about half an hour before serving. If you want to keep it for a few weeks, place it in an airtight container. This is ready to all be served today. I absolutely love working with the KitchenAid freeze bowl. It makes ice cream so easy.